Hi, my name is Grace. Welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to advocate for yourself in your career. Now, why would you need to advocate for yourself in your career? Well, if you want to grow and advance, you need to not only be thinking about the work you're doing today, but you also need to think about your future and how to get there. And advocating for yourself is really communicating your needs to your employer so that they can give you access to the right resources, the right projects or opportunities, and have access to the right people. And so in this video, I'm going to give 4 tips on things that you can do to be able to advocate for yourself. The first tip is getting clear on your goals, because you need to know where you're trying to get to before you think about even advocating for yourself or what you want to advocate for yourself for. So for example, are you trying to get a raise? You think you deserve a 10% raise, so now I can start to think about strategy on how to advocate for myself to get that raise. Or are you trying to get to the next level or a promotion? Now you can start to formulate a strategy to be able to accomplish that. So setting the goal is super important, because then you can be able to actually work towards something. And that's when you can really advocate for yourself in an even more efficient manner. The second tip is to develop your confidence and start to shift your mindset in advocating for yourself. So a lot of times when it comes to advocating for others, if somebody was to ask you for a recommendation and it's somebody that you've enjoyed working with, has done good work for you, very easy for you to talk about everything they did really well, all the work they did, the successes and so on. Very easy to advocate for others. But when it comes to advocating for yourself, for some reason people think of it in a negative light. Like if I talk about all the different things I'm doing really well, people will think I'm bragging. People will think I'm being obnoxious, and I don't want to come off that way. And that's not true. So starting to shift your mindset around what advocating for yourself really means. What you're doing is basically making your successes visible. You're communicating your strengths, you understand your value, and you're explaining or letting other people understand what value add you've brought to the team. You're proud of your work, celebrating your wins, and really showing why you're the person that's ready for whatever it is that you're trying to show. So it's not about bragging, it's not about all these negative, adjectives that you could use. It's really more about just being proud of what the work you've done and showcasing it. And so that's where the mindset needs to shift. And you need to start thinking about, if it's so easy to advocate for others, maybe you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes when you're trying to advocate for yourself. The third tip is to build your own portfolio that you can use when you're advocating for yourself. Now, remember, you're the CEO of your own career. And so you're the one that's going to decide how far you're going to get. And sometimes people think that if they work hard and they're doing a really good job at work, people are going to see it, they're going to notice it, and they're going to, give them a promotion or give them the next important project. And they think it's just going to happen because people are looking at you and observing you. And that's not really the case. Sometimes people don't even notice the work that you've done. And so it's your job to be clear about all the different contributions that you have made. And so you want to make sure you're building a portfolio around the work that you've done. If somebody gives you positive feedback, go ahead and file it away. If you've worked on a project that's really important to the business and it's been successful, make sure that you're writing down your contributions into that project and make sure you're tying it to business results. So don't just say, I was really good at this on the project. Say, I was really good at this, and this is the business result from that. And so that's why it was really successful, so that people can be able to clearly see how your contributions are tied to business results. Make sure that if you collaborate with others and you have an informal role in a project where it's not necessarily seen by others because, you're not the forefront of that project, file it away and bring those things up when you're having career conversations, whether it's with your manager or, whoever in your company you have career conversations with. Make sure you're showcasing some of those informal collaborations that were not necessarily clear in terms of the contributions that you made to that. And then the other thing you want to make sure is you're giving others credit. So as you start to think about showcasing, different works that has been done, if you have others that contributed to the success and you don't want to take credit for other people's work, that's basically the point. So make sure you're giving other people credit, and then you can also give yourself credit, and you'll start to get the reputation as somebody who just gives credit, whether it's to others or to yourself. You give credit where it's due. And then the fourth and final tip is to build your network and start to find allies within your company that will advocate for you. And so in this case, it could be somebody like a mentor. Maybe that's somebody that you admire, somebody that shares your goals and your values. Maybe they're in a role that you see yourself being in the next year or two. It's always helpful to have somebody like that who can be able to provide guidance, give you honest feedback, give you different viewpoints, because when you may have some blinders on, or like blind spots of like how you think you're doing versus how you're showing up, and having somebody like that can be able to really help you. So build networks and start to get mentors within your company that basically are in a position that you think that you want to end up in, or that demonstrate the values that you find important. You should also be building networks with your colleagues and your team members, because a lot of times they can also vouch for you. In the same way you're gonna give credit to others when you've collaborated with others and been successful, they'll also probably do the same thing. If they've enjoyed working with you, they'll probably vouch for you as well. So you also want to make sure you're building relationships across the organization, whether it's with your team members, anybody that you're working with. Just be professional, be somebody that is enjoyable to work with, and do a good job. And you'll probably have other people vouching for you as well. But the one thing I want you to remember, that even though you're building networks and having other people advocate for you, the person that's the best to advocate for you is yourself, because those other people will probably have interacted with you maybe 1 hour a day, maybe a couple of hours a week, and that's the lens with which they're going to vouch for you. But you've been with yourself for 24 hours in the day. You know the work you've done. You know how well you've done different things. And so you're the best person to advocate for yourself. And so keep that in mind as well as you're building relationships. Don't rely on the relationships to, advocate for yourself. Make sure you're the one that's driving it as well. In closing, advocating for yourself is not easy. So start building that muscle. Your future self will thank you, especially as you start to advance in your career. Thank you, and I will see you in my next video.